North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, plans to meet Russia President Vladimir Putin for weapons talks, according to a U.S. official. How's it going, guys? Welcome to Unwoke Thoughts. Tonight we're going to be talking about this meeting that will focus on the possibility of North Korea providing weapons to support Russia's war in Ukraine. Now, the exact location of the meeting is not yet confirmed. Neither North Korea nor Russia has commented on these reports, which have been corroborated by multiple media outlets. And the one that we are going to be reading today is from the BBC. But sources suggest that Kim Jong-un is likely to travel by armored train for the meeting. The White House has indicated that arms negotiations between North Korea and Russia are actively advancing. And I find it just interesting, guys, how we are continuing to escalate this war between Russia and Ukraine, and the military-industrial complex, Lockheed Martin, BlackRock, all of these large corporations are just salivating at the idea that this war is going to be happening. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, BlackRock, all of these major corporations who just love the idea of escalations when it comes to conflicts and war, and they want to suck up as much money and power as possible. And this is their perfect time to shine, their perfect time to be our shining white knight, our knight in shining armor, to step forth and destroy countries and rebuild them back up again, because they like to do that sort of thing, because that sort of thing has massive dollar signs attached to it. But Russia's defense minister recently visited North Korea to discuss selling artillery ammunition to Russia. This meeting may showcase North Korean weapons, including the ICBM Hwasong missile, which is an intercontinental ballistic missile. That's what ICBM stands for. It's the acronym. But both of these leaders have exchanged letters pledging increased bilateral cooperation. So it seems like all of these actions by the United States with Ukraine and this conflict has pushed Vladimir Putin to start talking to this insane leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un. And all of the leaders of North Korea in the past have shared this history of brutality, not just towards foreign countries, but towards their own people. So it's very concerning to see that Vladimir Putin is going to Kim Jong-un for help with this war. And the U.S. warns it will take action, including sanctions, if North Korea supplies weapons to Russia. I mean, we already have sanctions in North Korea, so this will be sanctions on top of sanctions, which would further complicate matters between the United States and North Korea. So this would just escalate tensions between our country, the United States, and North Korea, even more so. But they are talking about this possible meeting location could be this the city I can't say very well. It's something like Vladivostok, which is a city on the Russia's east coast. But a former UK ambassador to North Korea suggests that the meeting may not even happen, actually, now that it was leaked to the press because of security concerns. I guess Kim Jong-un is paranoid when it comes to security, so he may just cancel the meeting. But these were legitimate talks, letters between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. But the ambassador also has commented that North Korea's weapons are in poor condition and will likely come at a high price tag for Russia. So this will be very low quality weapons, low quality missiles, but missiles just the same. And Russia may be paying a dear price for them. We all learned in economics the supply versus the demand. And apparently North Korea has the supply, and Russia, of course, has the demand. But let's get into this article right here by the BBC, guys. The headline reads, Ukraine war, Kim Jong-un to visit Putin for weapons talks. And there we have it right here, guys. We have Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin in the past. You see Kim Jong-un is shaking hands for a photo op with Vladimir Putin. But the article goes on to say, North Korea's Kim Jong-un plans to travel to Russia this month to meet President Vladimir Putin. A U.S. official has told the BBC's U.S. partner CBS. The two leaders will discuss the possibility of North Korea providing Moscow with weapons to support its war in Ukraine, the official said. The exact location of the planned meeting is not clear. There was no immediate comment on the report, also carried by other U.S. media from North Korea or Russia. Sources told the New York Times that Mr. Kim, I guess that's what they call Kim Jong-un in this article, Mr. Kim, he is the supreme leader of North Korea. That is what they call him over there. They don't call him president. They don't call him prime minister. They call him the supreme leader. But Mr. Kim will most likely travel by armored train. The possible meeting comes after the White House said it had new information that arms negotiations between the two countries were actively advancing. National Security Councilman spokesman John Kirby said Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu had tried to convince Pyongyang to sell artillery ammunition to Russia during a recent visit to North Korea. Weapons on display at the meeting included the Hwasong Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, and that is a mouthful, but the acronym is ICBM. It was the first time that Mr. Kim, the supreme leader of North Korea, had opened the country's doors to foreign guests since the COVID pandemic. And here we see Mr. Kim, the supreme leader himself, the pumpkin in chief, standing proudly by his toy. But unfortunately, this is not a toy. This is a real missile. This is the ICBM, the Hwasong ICBM. And you see Mr. Kim kind of looking off into the distance, pointing at something. Looks like this is a photo op, and he is posing for the cameras, looking busy, looking like he is talking about some important things with his military officials. But Mr. Putin and Mr. Kim have since exchanged letters pledging to increase their bilateral cooperation, he said. We urged the DPRK to cease its arms negotiations with Russia and abide by the public commitments that Pyongyang had made to not provide or sell arms to Russia, Mr. Kirby said, using an abbreviation for the North. You know, I find it really funny and laughable that the United States and Kirby are coming out saying, hey, listen, but North Korea, they promised they wouldn't do this, as if North Korea cares one bit about keeping its promises to the United States or any foreign country whatsoever. When you have a large, powerful country like Russia wanting to cozy up to you, do you think that they are going to keep any of their promises with the United States? Because this just increases their power, because now they have a friend in this large, powerful country that is closer to them than the United States. And they are not going to be looking to honor any commitments to the United States whatsoever. So these commitments are worth just about as much as the price of the paper that they are printed on, because North Korea, Kim Jong-un, does not care about any commitments. They are just made in the moment just to placate any of the situations that they have found themselves in. But he warned that the U.S. would take action, including imposing sanctions. More sanctions if North Korea did supply Russia with weapons. According to the New York Times, the meeting between Mr. Kim and Mr. Putin could take place in the city of, okay, guys, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to say this word, this city name in Russia, Vladivostok. Okay, that rolls off the tongue the best way, I think. What do you guys think? Let me know. On the east coast of Russia, the newspaper's diplomatic correspondent, Edward Wong, told BBC News Channel that an advanced team of North Korean officials had traveled to Vladivostok and Moscow late last month. They included security officers who deal with the protocol surrounding travel of the leadership. So that was a strong sign for officials looking at this, Wong said. North Korea, he added, might be seeking advanced technology from Moscow to assist with its satellite nuclear-powered submarine program. So this is just incredible here. So there might be a trade going on here. So Russia could be saying, hey, I need missiles, I need weapons, and North Korea apparently needs advanced technology from Moscow to assist in its satellite and nuclear-powered submarine programs. So that's very concerning here. We have this Ukraine war, these tensions increasing over and over. The United States not doing anything to come to some sort of peace agreement between these two warring countries. And this is pushing the Russians, Vladimir Putin, into the arms to seek help from this insane leader of the country, North Korea. And this could be a potential trade here, because that is what North Korea needs. That's what we need North Korea to have: advanced nuclear technology for their submarine programs. Quote, also, North Korea is one of the poorest countries in the world, the New York Times journalist said. It often goes through bouts of mass hunger, and it is seeking food aid from Russia too. Pyongyang and Moscow have both previously denied that the North is supplying Russia with arms for its use in the war in Ukraine. Let's just be honest here, guys. I would not trust anything coming out of Pyongyang, coming out of Russia right now. In fact, I would not trust anything coming out of the United States if I were those countries as well, because all's fair in love and what? All's fair in love and war, right? But John Everard, who served as UK ambassador to North Korea between 2006 and 2008, told the BBC that publicity around the possible visit was a strong reason why the visit is now unlikely to take place. He said, quote, Kim Jong-un is completely paranoid about his personal security. He goes to great lengths to keep his movements secret, and if it's known that he's planning to go to Vladivostok to meet President Putin, he is likely just to cancel the whole thing, he said. Pyongyang knows that Moscow is desperate for munitions, and the price that North Korea will ask for them will be eye-wateringly high, he added. So Pyongyang, of course, Kim Jong-un, they know about the whole concept of supply and demand, just like most of us do. And if Russia has a high demand for these munitions, for these weapons, they are not going to come cheap. While North Korea has stockpiles of weapons, they are in very poor condition, he added. So not only are they going to be expensive, but they are also going to be in poor condition, which is unfortunate, or fortunate for us, or I don't know. All of this is unfortunate to me. I just think that this war needs to come to an end. There needs to be some sort of peace agreement between these two countries, because this war is only existing to line the pockets of the military-industrial complex of these massive companies who make all of this money and who generate all of this power from these wars. The two leaders last had a summit in 2018 when Mr. Kim arrived by train in Vladivostok. He was welcomed by officials with a traditional offering of bread and salt. Delicious. It's a snack I go to, during the day if I'm hungry. I always eat bread and salt because it is absolutely delicious. After the meeting, Mr. Putin said Mr. Kim would require security guarantees in order to abandon his nuclear program. Their meeting came just months after a summit in Vietnam between Mr. Kim and then President Donald Trump had failed to make progress on denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. So there we have it, guys. We have escalating involvement of external actors in this conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Now, the United States itself is an external actor, and we have done nothing to generate any sort of peace talks between these two countries. In fact, we have done nothing but escalate this conflict. Now, this is why I like the rhetoric of Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy when they talk about desperately needing these peace talks between these two countries so that they can come to some sort of agreement, because we are rapidly advancing towards a World War III, which would be catastrophic not just for these two countries, but for the world. And this is unfortunately what these massive conglomerates like BlackRock, like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, these big military industrial complex companies who go into countries and they profit off of death, off of war, off of entire cities and countries being leveled so that they can come in and rebuild and profit off of the chaos. But this potential meeting between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin highlights this alarming escalation in the involvement of external actors in the war in Ukraine. But this ongoing war has now opened a potential market for arms trade. North Korea, this small country that no one takes seriously, but now we have to take seriously because they have nuclear weapons, despite these international sanctions and commitments, is now considering selling artillery, ammunition, and potentially these ICBMs, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, and maybe even more advanced weaponry to Russia. And there's a potential trade where Russia could give them technology for their nuclear weapons. This not only threatens to intensify the war, but also destabilizes the global arms control regime. Now, if these reports are accurate, the weapons displayed during the potential arms negotiation include this Hwasong missile. The sale and movement of such high-grade weaponry further increase the risk of proliferation and can lead to global security threats. Now, this just points to the counterproductive nature of the diplomacy with the United States and Ukraine and Russia. The war in Ukraine is pushing countries to form new diplomatic ties based on arms negotiation. If you are a United States citizen, if you are in Ukraine or Russia, this should be highly concerning to you because you have Vladimir Putin, who is the president of a very large and powerful and historically relevant country, being pushed into making diplomatic ties with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. North Korea, their leaders have a history of extremely brutal tactics with not just other countries, but with their own people. And as seen by the exchange of letters between Putin and Kim pledging increased bilateral cooperation, this is reshaping diplomatic landscapes and can have long-term consequences on international relations. And this increases the potential for sanctions and further conflict. The United States warned of imposing more sanctions on North Korea if it supplies weapons to Russia, on top of the already, numerous sanctions it has on North Korea. So this is going to further complicate the already intricate network of international sanctions, potentially leading to more conflict and tension in the geopolitical arena. This is why we need leaders in the White House, like Vivek, like Donald Trump, who are not in the pocket of these military industrial complex companies and these large investment companies like BlackRock, because these companies have no interest in peace. These companies have no interest in human life. They only care about the bottom line. They only care about the dollar bills, the power that they can gain. And continuing the conflict only invites more complications, risks, and unpredictability into an already complex situation, which would endanger global security and peace. But what do you guys think about this whole situation? Do you think that Vladimir Putin is going to actually meet with Kim Jong-un, or do you think these are all just rumors? And what do you think about the war in Ukraine? If you could please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Like the video and subscribe to my page. I would really appreciate it. But until then, I will see you on the next one.